Another week and another edition of the KREF High School Huddle here on our KREF Sports TV YouTube channel. That's Connor Pasby. I'm Grayson Singleton. As always, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on social media on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter for all our graphics, highlights, and updates and everything concerning our athletes and schools that we cover. Coming up on this episode of the podcast, we got a big one today, including a couple of interviews that you will not want to miss. We talked to somebody from Prep Baseball. We're going to talk to Edmond Memorial's Cole Dunlap, as well as the Bulldogs are off to a fantastic start to their season. So make sure you stay tuned through the entire episode for both of those interviews. All right, let's get started with the best thing that we've seen over the last couple of days. And how about a crosstown clash in soccer? Norman North's girls, they hung 7 on Norman, including a hat trick, by the way, from Presley Boyd, the Tulsa commit. 7-1 is the final tally as Norman North on the girls' side takes down Norman High. And then on the boys' side of things, Norman North gets a 1-0 win over Norman. So exciting stuff happening. We had some fireworks in the girls' game, and then we had a good old-fashioned defensive match in the second game here in Norman last night.
Yeah, we did, Grayson. The hat trick for Presley Boyd and Haley Jewell, she got the party started for Norman North early on in that game. OU commit got Norman North off to a 1-0 lead, and they just kept going offensively. They have tons of talent on the field. They're very well coached. Trevor LaFoon does a great job over at Norman North, has his team ready every single time they step on the field. So great performance for Norman North last night.
Yeah, Norman North and Norman both came into that game on the girls' side with 2 of the best goal differentials in all of 6A, and Norman North continues to live up to that. So some soccer to start us out with here today. We've got more soccer coming up later on in the show, so stick around for that. But let's go to baseball, and the hot team right now outside of Memorial has been Moore. They are surging up the district standings, and after sweeping Norman North with a couple of 9-0 victories on Monday and Tuesday, the Lions are now second in 6A District 2. Choctaw split their series with Deer Creek, which drops them to third. Deer Creek is now 5th as well. Piedmont in 4th in that 6A2 district standing. How about the Lions charging up the district standings?
Yeah, Grayson, they've won now 11 of their last 12. Probably one of the most surprising teams at the 6A level. And they got a bunch of two-way guys that can pitch and they can also hit in the lineup. Cole Gossett, in Game 1, he went 2 for 3. And then Game 2, he was on the mound, had a complete game, 4 strikeouts, no walks. So they have guys like that. They're just tough baseball players, and they're playing well. And a very hot team right behind Edmond Santa Fe. And we're going to get that matchup coming up on KREFSports.tv. That's going to be really fun to watch.
Yeah, and speaking of that, you jumped right to where I was going to go. They have 2 district series left. The opponents, Edmond Santa Fe and Choctaw, the 1 and 3 teams in the district right now. So a lot left to be determined in 6A District 1. Piedmont still has a chance. Deer Creek with an outside chance. They're going to need a lot of things to break their way, even though them getting the split with Choctaw certainly works in their favor, keeping them alive. By the way, we do have an update on that rescheduling for Game 2 of the Moore Deer Creek series that was rained out. That game will be played in the final day of the regular season. So that'll be an extra KREFSports.tv game and a game, depending on how things fall, that could have a lot of postseason implications. So again, another reason for you to follow us on social media, because we're going to get that out to you when the time comes. But Moore also, they got some good help from their pen as well. In Game 1, Howe went 4 2/3 in relief, striking out 3 and only allowed 2 hits. By the way, Norman North only had 4 hits in Game 1 of that series. And in Game 2, the Timberwolves bats were limited to only 3 hits. So just a lot of really, really good pitching for Moore, and of course the offense came to follow as well.
Yeah, tons of arms they can bring out of the pen, and they're just able to jump out to a lead, it feels like, every single game. They're not working from behind, and you love to see that for a pitcher out on the mound when he's working with the lead, and that's what the Lions have done for their pitching, making life easy for their pitchers out there.
Another team that has pitched really well this year, and their bats are starting to hit their groove as well is UConn, as the Millers sweep Edmond North in their district home and home on Monday and Tuesday, and now are one game back of Westmore for second in 6A District 1, obviously led by Edmond Memorial. Now, they're a game back of Westmore for second, and of course that's critical because the first and second seeds get to host a region. Here's the kicker. Westmore has to have an outright better record at the end of the year than UConn, because earlier in the season, UConn swept Westmore. So, again, more playoff scenarios coming in, but you were at UConn last week. What have you thought of the Millers to this point?
Well, Eddie Fish is a guy that can really swing it in the lineup for UConn. They have solid pitching. Brady Hoke in that game 1 against Edmond North that we just saw recently, he went 6 innings, 9 Ks, 4 hits, and no earned runs. So a great outing from Brady Hoke, and they got experience at the plate, guys that can swing it, and that was important for UConn to get that series sweep over Westmore at the beginning of the year, and they just swept Edmond North, so now things are heading in the right direction for Ryan Phillips and his bunch.
Yeah, no doubt. In Westmore, a team that's also starting to hit its stride too. They're now 7-3 in the district, and not somewhere you thought they would be at the start of the season, but they have certainly started to play their best baseball as the season has progressed. And there's a lot of teams that can fall into that category. Memorial's been playing really good baseball all season long. So has Santa Fe. But Deer Creek's starting to play a little bit better. More, obviously, we just talked about them. Westmore, UConn could fall into that category as well. So coming down the stretch toward the postseason, it almost seems like everybody's starting to play some really good baseball now.
They are, and Westmore, I mean, they're a team that's used to winning. We saw it last year where this is about the same time when they started to get on a groove here toward the end of the regular season and heading into the postseason. Because if you remember from last year, Westmore was barely above 500 when they entered the postseason, and all of a sudden they just got hot quickly. And that's what Westmore is doing right now with the experience that they have at the plate. A guy like Josiah Kemp that really drives the engine for them offensively. You see electric play after electric play from Josiah Kemp up there.
Yeah, and he went yard a couple of days ago against Edmond North in their series, this week. Speaking of Westmore, Connor asked our guest about Westmore and some of our other teams in 6A across all the districts. And you guys are all familiar as baseball fans with prep baseball. They rank teams, they rank players, and whatnot. As a matter of fact, they ranked one of our teams, Edmond Memorial, as the #1 team in Oklahoma coming into the season. Well, we got to sit down with the scouting director in the state of Oklahoma from prep baseball, Bret Schwartz, and we had a lengthy conversation that, by the way, is posted in full as a separate video on this same YouTube channel. We'll give you pieces of it here on this podcast, but here's Connor's conversation with Bret Schwartz.
But, Brett, I want to start with Edmond Memorial. They are a team that they're still undefeated in 6A1, a 9-0 record, 21-2 overall. You could probably say they're one of the most talented teams in the 6A. Talent on the mound, talent at the plate. Cole Dunlap, Laird Williams, Cooper Kardokis, a Nebraska commit, and the Winchesters, who also provide a lot offensively. From you, what stands out with this Memorial team?
Yeah, I mean, everything, all those guys that you just touched on, I think they're super deep, which I think is just kind of they're really prepared, which is a credit to Coach Holman and his staff. And they've had some injuries like many have had this year, where like Noah Intrican now is kind of coming back in a little bit different role, where he was their Monday guy to start the year, and now he's kind of providing relief. He's finishing some games, finished a game that Laird Williams started last week and doing some different things. But then a kid like Cole Dunlap, who at the beginning of the year, he's coming on in relief, and it's pretty loud electric stuff where he's throwing a really high spin fastball and a pretty loud, really firm breaking ball. And he's having a ton of success in that Tuesday role. So on the mound, and then Laird Williams starting on Monday, recently a Tulane commit. So on the mound, those are guys that you kind of look at, but then a guy like Caleb Hines, the glue guys that throw really valuable innings throughout the week and provide valuable innings on Monday and Tuesday as well. And then offensively, I mean, it's just kind of up and down the order. I think maybe the most fun thing about that Memorial squad is the mix of experience as well as some youth, right? You have the Kardokis, you have Rhett Winchester leading off and kind of setting the tone at the top of the order, going to Barton County And then Jace Winchester, right? Recently committed to Cali. So they have guys like that, but then they also have some younger guys that like the Landon Schmitz, the Cohen Isaacsons, guys like that are younger, and then in right now their ABs are a lot more sound, or the game has slowed down for them a lot more compared to March 1st. So guys like that, and then even like right now, a guy catching those high octane arms is a freshman, right? Weston Zer. So they just have all this mix of just experience and youth, and they're getting better and better. And I mean, you said the record, I think 21-2 right now. And I don't know if you could do that quietly, but it feels like they're kind of doing it quietly, going about their business. And again, just a credit to Coach Holman and his staff. They're doing an outstanding job. So.
And Brett, right behind them is the Westmore Jags. They're another team that's
Yep.
playing good baseball as of late.
Yep.
They've won 5 in a row, and they picked up a big district win yesterday over Mustang. They'll face off against them here today. And when you talk about this Westmore team, it's a team that brought back quite a bit from last year in that state championship run that they had. One of those big players is Josiah Kemp, the OU commit. He can really swing it. So it helps to have a Westmore team that state championship win last year, and it's nice to have that presence again this year with this team.
Yeah, no question. I mean, you can't underestimate the experience of winning this time of year, right? Down the home stretch, guys that have done it before. And you mentioned Josiah Kemp. I think it obviously starts with him, right? Leading off, playing center field. He's able to put a ton of pressure on defenses in a variety of ways, whether it's in the box or once he gets on the bases. And then right behind him, Jacob Weba, right? Going to Vernon. But undersized, but does not play undersized. Has some juice, like he's really disciplined, is really mature in his approach and able to hit doubles and then once again put a ton of pressure on people. But I think maybe the biggest thing is they find ways to get outs, right? They just consistently are able to kind of put themselves in good positions. Late in games, they're still in a game and they're able to find a way to win those games. And like I was at a UConn game early in the year with them and on a Tuesday, and UConn was the one that was able to kind of find a way to win. And I think that Westmore has kind of found a way to kind of flip the script on that a little bit. They've learned through some of those experiences early in the year. And I mean, guys stepping up like Brody Inhoff's as tough of a Monday guy, like big time pitch ability, the changeup's elite. Like he has a chance to be really, really special at the next level, but he's putting together really good starts and putting them in good positions on Monday. And then again, another really well coached group to where they're not going to beat themselves.
And Brett, when we go down to 6A2, Santa Fe, they were at the top with the 8-1 district record, 18-7 overall. They did drop some games early in the month to UConn, Mustang, and Memorial, but 2 D1 talents that they have, Savion Sims and Carson Brumbaugh.
Yep.
What impresses you the most about that team?
Yeah, I mean Carson Brumbaugh is outstanding. He's super fun to watch. Arkansas signee, and he's a potential draft guy. Like it's seen every single time that you go to a Santa Fe game, like people are there to watch Carson play, and rightfully so. Like he's a physical kid, big time power. But I think maybe my favorite thing, just as a fan or evaluating him, is like he's just so mature. So mature in the way that he approaches the game. He'll take what the defense is going to give him. If it means hitting a backside single, he's going to hit a backside single. But if he gets into a plus leverage count, like he's going to do damage, right? And we've been fortunate enough to see some of that in person, to where he's able to kind of get after guys in some of those counts. So it really does. Like him setting the table is just such a big part of their success. But then even after somebody like Brum, like they have the Brady Morgesons, who like the hit tool is very, very real, and he understands again how to play the game. I think that's a credit to Coach Webb, that those guys understand who they are and how to utilize their skill set to help the group. But like Morgeson, and then you mentioned somebody like Savion. I mean, that's guys like him don't come around too often with the physical tools. But I think the cool thing with Savion has just been the command so far this spring. Like he is really, really attacking the zone and going right after guys. And I mean, obviously with that kind of stuff, why wouldn't you? But it's nice to see like the relentless, just that attacking mindset that he's putting forth so far this spring. And obviously, for them to get to where they want to get to, like he's going to be a significant part of it.
One more to hit on, Brett, and it's in 6A4. It's the Bixby Spartans. They are at the top, 9-0, undefeated district play. Their last loss came 2 weeks ago against a pretty solid Owasso team.
Yeah.
Another team that's been playing good. They lost by 1 run. But this Bixby team, it's a team that has a lot of experience on the mound and at the plate, and they're showing that right now.
Yep. Yeah, no question. So, and I mean, Brian Justice, starting on Monday, he gets him off to a great start every week, it seems like. I mean, he's, whether he's like, they're the away team and he's either leading off or hitting in the 3-hole or he's starting on the mound. He's getting them off to a great start. So I think it kind of begins with him, but then kind of the same thing. It's really exciting, kind of up and down. So you got like Leggett throwing on Tuesday, pitching at a high level, like giving them an opportunity to win on Tuesday every single week. But then in like Landon Wegner, I saw a couple weeks ago, throwing on a Thursday, who, I mean, just throwing strikes, being able to mix multiple pitches, land them in the zone and keep teams off balance. Ended up giving them an opportunity to come back and beat a really good UConn team that day. But then offensively, I think it's really, really fun. It's really exciting to watch them because they can do so many things. Like I mean, Barrett Stanley is a super, super talented hitter. Like that guy can absolutely hit from both sides of the plate. Ton of doubles. And I think that's what's so fun to watch is he doesn't necessarily try to do anything outside of himself. It's, I'm gonna basically have a mature approach, hit doubles to the middle of the yard. If they leave the yard, they leave the yard. But I'm gonna hit doubles and drive guys in. So I think kind of begins with him, like you talk about, like we mentioned Drake Pace earlier with UConn. Like Graham Knight's kind of in that same realm where, man, you can see the growth and the development that's taking place with a guy like him. And yeah, absolutely. So just doing an awesome job. So I think Cohen Miller just had a huge week for him on the mound and at the plate. So it's kind of up and down that lineup, and they can beat you in a variety of ways, and you can see different guys stepping up different weeks. And Coach Wilson's an outstanding coach. Like they're very, very well coached. They do the little things really well, and it shows up in the win-loss column. And you can see that they're, I mean, playing at a high level and have high expectations for the rest of the year, as they should.
All right, good stuff. And, we talked about Bixby, Westmore, and what do you think coming out of that conversation was Bret's overall view of some of these teams in the 6A landscape?
Well, early on, I mean, no surprise that he was high on Edmond Memorial. I mean, a team that it's just, there's talent all over the place on the field with this Memorial team. When you talk about two powerful arms up there, Laird Williams and Cole Dunlap, both guys that can fill up the zone and has high velocity fastball with Dunlap and Williams, and the hitting that they have with the Winchesters, Cardocus, that they can swing it. So no surprise that he was high on Memorial. And he just talked about how competitive it is at the 6A level. I mean, there's so many teams that we have on a KREF Sports that just beat up on each other throughout the regular season. So it's pretty evenly matched up with several of the teams that we had. So it was a joy to hear from Bret Schwartz and what he had to say about a lot of our KREF teams.
Yeah, and again, you can view the full 15-minute or so interview on a separate video on this same KREFsports.tv YouTube channel. So we encourage you to check that out, as many of you already have. Back to soccer real fast here. Edmond Memorial's boys got a win 3-0 over, or 3-0, shall I say, 3-0 over Moore last night. They now are the lone unbeaten team in 6A District 2. Now, 6A District 2 is going to be really, really fun because right behind them is Edmond North, Deer Creek, and Northwest Classen, all at 3-1. Deer Creek's boys starting to look really good as well, as does Edmond North. And both of the girls and the boys in those districts are pretty solid. As a matter of fact, the standings look pretty similar, boys to girls as well. So a lot of fun could be happening in 6A District 2 on the soccer pitch.
Yeah, several teams up there playing well. And Memorial boys, they lost 2-0 early on in the season against Norman North. But since that, they've had 7 games without giving up a goal. So they're getting the job done defensively with their goalkeeper, keeping their opponents out of the net. So solid job for the Memorial boys so far. Edmond North, Deer Creek, both of them have looked pretty impressive late in the year as well.
And a lot of matchups between those teams that we just rattled off are still left on the district slate. So make sure you tune in to check out those if you can't get to the stadiums for those games. Speaking of Edmond Memorial, let's go to baseball, where the Bulldog baseball team has been a mainstay on this podcast. They are now 10-0 in district play after another series sweep. And one of their stars has been sophomore Cole Dunlap. He was ranked the #1 sophomore by Prep Baseball coming into the season as a pitcher and a catcher. And in this interview, I learned so much about this kid that I did not already know. Take a listen. Cole, I want to start with this. I went back through your season, was looking up some stuff. You didn't even start starting until very recently on a regular basis. What was that like, going from coming out of the pen to now starting as, like a day 2 starter in some of these series?
It's kind of different because my whole life I've been that closer just because of catching. And so, I mean, I definitely had to get my arm to where it was like ready to go for 90 to 95 pitches a game if I go a CG. So it's just, I mean, it was a big difference, big jump for me, for sure.
Yeah. What is that process like, transitioning your arm and your body from what you were doing previously to now what you're doing now?
Honestly, it's a lot more. Well, first of all, it's a lot more recovery, which is a big thing that I have to work through with my arm, especially with catching and pitching. But it's also the fact that I've got to be long tossing almost every day to keep my arm in shape, and knowing how my arm feels. Like, it's a big feel thing, because if you're not 100% and these games aren't going to be able to be pitched fully out because of how long they are and how you can get deeply into these games. Because if your arm's not feeling good, there's no way to know how good you're going to do in the day. So
how's the coaching staff been with you, and how have they helped you along this?
great. I mean, first of all, this team has been like crazy to come into. The chemistry on this team is insane. And then the coaches are just like they're all in. Like, they've been a big impact to my season, because I will say I was not ready for coming in to start. But the thing is with the coaches is they how high school coaches are. I mean, there's most of them know what they're doing, but some don't. And they have only shown that they love and know how to play the game of baseball. So it's been great.
Man, that's really cool. And your team's success so far has been awesome. I mean, y'all have only lost 2 games. You're unbeaten in district, man. Just talk about your team and this Bulldog team that is off to such a great start.
I mean, the only thing that I can give you that's like unmatched to any other team that I've ever played for is this chemistry. We're so tight. Like, this team is so, I mean, we're hanging out every weekend. Like, we're always together. It's been a good thing. And so most of varsity kids are online. And so we all kind of get up to the field early and kind of get, just hang out there and talk and hang out in the locker room. And so I feel like chemistry's been a big thing. I mean, the infield and outfield behind me is crazy. Like, I can't trust anybody more than them. I mean, just start at third base. Cooper Cardocas, not only one of the best hitters in the state, I mean, best glove in the state, in my opinion. And then you got Jace. Jace Winchester is just great guy. I mean, he's one of the smoothest infielders I've ever met. And he rakes. We've been looking forward for his brother to get back to playing the outfield. But and then we've got Justin Tracy, crazy, Cohen Isaacson, big bat. He's having a really good season hitting. And then we got Bo Bayouth playing center for us. He's been a big part of our even pitching. Playing center and pitching has been a big part of our season. Got T-Rob. I mean, fastest kid in the state of Oklahoma. He is insane, crazy big bat. And then you got Landon Schmidt out. I mean, I don't know what to say about Landon Schmidt. He's just, you can't get much better than that with an outfielder. But
That's cool. No, you know, it's funny. When I call games, after the first out, I go through everybody on the defense, left, right in the outfield, left, right in the infield.
yeah,
And you just did that. You know, I was looking through your Twitter, man, and you just love reposting and promoting your guys, man.
oh yeah.
You just said what you just said. Where does that love for your teammates and clearly your love for people, where does that come from, man?
I mean, it's my whole career of baseball. I mean, the friends that I hang out with, the friends I have from even all over the nation have all come from baseball. And so it's just like, it's just a huge part of my life. And so I kind of have to put them, I mean, it's putting them first. I love those kids, man.
Man, that's really cool. Prep Baseball has you as the #1 player in the 2027 class in the state of Oklahoma. I didn't even know they had you listed as a catcher until I looked at that earlier today, man. So like, what do you do better? What is your main thing? Is it catcher? Is it pitcher? What is it?
I'm a big, like, I love pitching. I have been catching my whole life, and pitching's always been kind of my thing, but I always haven't been like the greatest at it. And then I got hurt coming into 8th grade year, and I separated my growth plate in my shoulder in a tournament in Florida, and came back, and I was like maybe 81, 82 before that, and came back, and I think second pin was topped like 88. And so that was a big jump. I was kind of crazy because I was not seeing myself as a pitcher, but I mean, I love pitching. You can't get much better than that. But catching, I mean, huge part of my life. I think that's why I'm so good at pitching, because catching's gotten me so strong in the legs, like all of that. I will give all the credits to that. But I mean, I love doing both, but it's just, we're gonna have to let the game figure out what I'm gonna do next at the next level.
I mean, you said you weren't great at pitch. You said you were good at pitching, but not great. These are your last 3 starts. 5 1/3 innings pitched, 9 strikeouts. 6 innings, 11 strikeouts. 6 innings, 10 strikeouts. What do you mean you're not the greatest at pitching, dude? You're blowing everybody away right now.
Well, I was meaning like younger age. Like, I wasn't coming up as a pitcher, I'll say that. But I mean, it's once I hit that 88, I kind of just went all in, and so pitching's been like the biggest thing to me right now. So
Right now for you guys, obviously you guys are tops in the state. You came in, Prep Baseball had y'all #1 preseason, and you've lived up to it. Right now, what is it going to take for you guys to stay focused on your ultimate goal, which is winning that state championship?
I just think I think the one thing that's going to get in our way, and I'm not really too worried about it, is the whole thing about getting too cocky and too overconfident, just because we're winning all of these games. But I mean, I trust my guys, and I think we have a really good shot at it. So I'm not worried.
Memorial's win streak is now 11, and they've won 11 in a row since their blowout loss to Choctaw, 12-4, by the way, back on March the 28th. And this team continues to be impressive. Cole Dunlap was one of the more fun interviews I've ever had. He was awesome.
Yeah, Cole Dunlap, he's a great kid. He's young, 2027 kid, but man, he was hitting like 93, 94 with his fastball last time that I got to see him against UConn. So he's going to be a kid to watch out for by the time he's a senior. But it's not just him. It's a high-attained offense that Memorial has. And when you mix that up with the 2 elite arms that they got with Dunlap, who we were just talking about, and Laird Williams, you're going to do some pretty special things in the postseason. It looks like that is heading Memorial's way. So look out for them to win some more games and make a big push here in the postseason.
There was an earlier part in the year before Dunlap became a full-time starter where Edmond Memorial would start Laird Williams and then bring Dunlap out of the pen, which is wild to me. Imagine
have fun with that.
Have fun hitting all of that. But I mean, an ERA lower than 1. And the funniest part of that interview, Connor, was when he said, yeah, like I didn't like pitching wasn't really a thing I thought about. And then I did start pitching. And he's like, well, the fastball topped out 89. So I was like, probably should do more of this, which was the most hilarious thing to me. It's like just woke up one day. It's like, oh, I can throw 89 miles an hour. Great.
I throw pretty hard. Maybe I should be up there
Maybe
throwing.
I should put more time into this. Good stuff, man. All right, that'll do it for this week's episode of the KREF High School Huddle here on our KREFSports.tv YouTube channel. Remember, like, subscribe, follow us on YouTube and all the social medias, IG, Facebook, and Twitter as well. That's Connor Pasby. I'm Grayson Singleton. We will talk to you next week. Have a good week and weekend, everybody, and happy Easter to all of you that celebrate.